Hi, I'm Marisa, and I share relatable stories surrounding mental health, wellness, and finding joy in life. Welcome back, or welcome if you are new here. Thank you for tuning in today. Today, I wanted to touch on the topic of social media and how it affected my mental health, and how it can be a positive, but also how it can be a negative to those of us who are raising young children or maybe grew up around social media. So there's no doubt that social media has really transformed the way that we live, the way that we share, and how we express ourselves with one another. And there are so many positive aspects that I've found throughout the years, but it can also be extremely damaging, in my opinion, especially for those of us who were already lacking emotional intelligence because we were raised in environments that lacked emotional connection. I feel like a lot of us, and I'm not speaking for all of you millennials out there, but I feel like a lot of us grew up in sort of like a free range parenting style where there were like very blurred boundaries and we had to kind of learn to navigate life on our own without a lot of help from our parents. At least that was my experience. So we became more independent in this world of a lot of options. We had so much abundance, and it was really hard to navigate that on our own. And because of that, it often led to us seeking external validation rather than being content with what we have. And that's for physical and emotional, I guess. Like we couldn't be content with what we had because there were so many other things happening around us. And so for years, I personally was working on my digital voice. During high school and college, I had some platforms. I had I don't know how it's pronounced, Xanga, Xanga. Is it called Xanga journal? And I had a short-lived blog for a time, and I had a YouTube channel back in, I think it was 2009 or 2010. That channel ended up getting monetized, but I was so self-conscious about it, and I had zero self-confidence that I ended up deleting it. And I was a new mom at the time, I remember when I deleted it. I had the channel for several years prior, but when I deleted it, I was a new mom and I had been inspired by all the new mommy channels that were all the rage back in 2016. I realized that by continuing that cycle, I was really just caught up in that attention seeking cycle. Like it was just mirroring a trend that others were experiencing and I wanted to be a part of. But I had no like heart in it at all. Reflecting on this journey, I realize now that like deleting that channel and stepping away just in general from social media was essential for my personal growth. I stepped away from a lot of the things. I went from sharing too much to sharing almost nothing. And when I did share, I was trying to be more intentional about it. I was really concerned about sharing stuff about my kids at the time. I started worrying about how what I posted might impact them emotionally and mentally in the future. Not just posts about them, but also posts in general, whatever they were about. And I also had some pressure, not pressure, but I found it to be pressure on me that people in real life had found my channel and that made me feel really insecure. And I really I cared a lot about what others thought about me. And the thought of others thinking negative in any sort of way because they saw those videos made me feel even more insecure. Now, that's not even a thought. Like, I don't even care what others would think or what their opinion is. Like, everyone is going to have an opinion, and that's just a fact. Whatever that opinion is just is. It's neutral to me. Whatever they're trying to project is just is. But at the time, I wasn't able to process it like that. So I had zero self-awareness, and again, I cared way too much about what others thought about me. And also the trauma that I experienced in like earlier in my life also kind of kept me in the state that it occurred in. And so I felt like I was very stuck in that state and unable to move away from feeling those heavy feelings without stepping away from social media. And looking back, I realized that following my intuition at the time was probably the best thing for me. And I really did need to close that chapter, literally, literally and figuratively, in order to grow and in order to release any unrealistic expectations that I was setting for myself. And so while I haven't been participating in the landscape of parenting channels in the last several years, I've been observing them personally, either by watching them or by reading about them on different platforms. And to me, it's clear that many creators are also seeking some emotional connections that they might lack in their personal lives. I can't blame them though, because there's such an allure of sharing details about your life, and that can often be overshadowing the potential damage it might cause down the line. Like you might not even think about those things because whatever you're doing now just feels so good and the attention you're getting from it feels so good that any consequences or any side effects that may arise are just not even an afterthought, or they are just an afterthought because they don't matter to you. Or that's how it seems to me. So the other thing I've noticed about parenting channels is that a lot of them aren't parenting. How can you actually nurture and create these beautiful connections with your children that you claim you have, yet your day revolves around creating, filming, making content, making videos, while your kids are asking for your attention, but you're filming and doing other things? I just feel like they're actually filming their children being ignored and putting it out there for all of us to see. I've seen that example few too many times and others, but I just feel like there are too many people sharing too many things about their lives, and we should really try to learn less about each other and not more. Something I've learned too about parenting is that it can fill a certain void that we also carry from our childhood. I feel that the hormonal and physical changes of motherhood for women can definitely also amplify any of these feelings we might already have had prior. And if we invest time and positive energy into our children, I feel like it can help us understand ourselves a little bit better and in turn our kids. And also reliving and creating these new experiences with my kids is really the best part to me about it all, because certain experiences I don't have good memories of as a child, so getting to do them over again with my kids not only helps them just be and have an amazing time, but it also helps heal a part of me that craved that as a little child, which is to me the most rewarding part about being a mom. But again, it's striking to me to see how many people in the social media space appear to just be in this search for this emotional intimacy. The validation that people receive online can create a cycle of dependency. It becomes addicting, and it can also lead to a disconnect from who you really are too, because you end up depending on that validation that you really almost forget what you're validating. Like, are you validating what they want to see or validating the things that you really stand for and are? And also, many of them seem to morph into different personas, chasing trends rather than embracing who they are and their authenticity. They don't even know who they are a lot of times. Like, their life changing products that they promote change all the time. Are they really all that great if you're constantly moving on to the next best thing? And these personalities seem so forced in some of these people, honestly. And a lot of their posts would be better suited for a journal or a group text with their BFFs. Again, we should really start to like know less about each other, especially when it comes to personal details. But I can relate to that too, because before I started my own self healing journey, I was also often in a manic cycle of emotions where I was seeking validation externally instead of trying to find out what it is I need within myself. I wasn't thoughtful about how I came across to others, about how I articulated myself, and I was chasing something, but I just didn't know what it was. And I had a lot to say, but I didn't know how to get it out or, again, how to articulate any of it. So I talked to my therapist and I did some extensive EMDR therapy, and I did that for several months, and that helped me the most. That was one of the most beneficial things I've ever done. EMDR, it rewires your brain and helps you kind of. EMDR is a intense type of therapy that helps you rewire certain connections in your brain that then help you heal some mental trauma that you've been through. There's probably a much better explanation of this if you were to Google the term EMDR therapy. Much better than I can explain, but that's just in my layman's terms. But also, in my opinion, this culture of oversharing that we're currently experiencing can have a really significant consequences too. I feel like a lot of people still have yet to be really mindful about what they're posting and are just replicating whatever they see online. Prime example, hello, mom talk. Do we need every state, every region of every state to have their own version when the original's already been done and there was a reason why they were like why that show popped off and why the drama happened and all of those things? Like you can't recreate that. You just do something else. Figure out your own thing and do that. Why are you copying something somebody else has already done? I don't get it. But as we like navigate this landscape in the digital world, I do hope that we can all kind of find ways to stand out on our own and do our own thing and not follow the path already laid out for us, because what's the point? It's if it's already been done, it's you're not going to gain traction from it in my opinion. Again, my opinion. You don't have to agree or disagree with me. It's totally fine. I'm just saying what I'm saying. Genuine connection and fulfillment really do come from within, and I think it's time that we prioritize that over this fleeting attention and desire of social media. It's cool to be online and to create and post, but do it for your own enjoyment. If others want to come and listen, that's awesome and great. And if they don't want to, that's fine too. It's not for them then. Do it for yourself, not for others. And the right people will be there to listen. And just remember to always speak kind words to yourself and to others, because kindness is free, and creating a smile is takes much less effort and much less muscles than it does to frown. If you like this video, hit subscribe and hit like. If you have any thoughts on this topic, I'd love to see them in the comments. And yeah, thank you for tuning in. Thank you so much. I will talk to you next time. Bye.